Hello everyone, TMMgamer here, and today I have the pleasure of bringing you another one of my FIFA 14 team tutorials. And as you can see, today's tutorial will cover Brazil. Now I like to set Brazil up in a 4-3-3 formation, their default formation, and the team is Jefferson, Dani Alves, Thiago Silva, Dante, Marcelo, Hernandez, Luis Gustavo, Oscar, Lucas, Hulk and Neymar. And you can see the positions I line them up in the screen. But before I decide to talk about the team in general, let's talk about the match I'm about to show you. Now this match was an absolutely mental game of FIFA. You know, it's one of those games where it shows quite well, I think, how effective Brazil can be, because Brazil are one of the most devastating attacking teams in FIFA. However, it also shows just how bad at defending Brazil can be, because Brazil can overcommit offensively in many situations. So it's a really good game to watch to show how Brazil can be used, some of their weaknesses, some of their strengths. So hopefully you guys will enjoy watching that in the background. But as always, let's start with the goalkeeper in goal. And I've decided to go for Jefferson. And Brazil have a huge amount of very similar players in certain positions. And it's a tough decision to go between Jefferson and Julio Cesar in goal. But I've decided to go for Jefferson because he has slightly better reflexes. He has 87. And more importantly, he has better handling at 81. You know, Cesar has high 70s handling. I think it's like 78, 77 off the top of my head. That's not particularly brilliant, and you see a lot of times Julio Cesar will flap it across or flap a shot back into the area, and that's not very useful whatsoever. So I do prefer Jefferson just for slightly more solid handling statistics, but either way they're both pretty reasonable goalkeepers and do a very good job. You know, the first player outfield, who's pretty much nailed on to start, is Dani Alves. Now, Dani Alves is an absolutely destructive attacking player. You know, he has 87 acceleration, 92 sprint speed. He has, 83 crossing, very good short passing, so 82. And, he has a stat like 88 shot power for a right back. That's absolutely insane. You know, he's so attacking. He has high attacking work rate and low defensive work rate. And this is the first thing you need to really mention about Brazil. So many times you will see that Dani Alves will just rampage up the field and will never come back. You know, he will just run up the park and stay there. But if you'd like a fullback to be very aggressive, you really cannot find anyone better than Dani Alves. He's so good. He has 4-star skill moves as well for those people who like to do their tricks and flicks. He is a devastatingly effective fullback. So Alves, great player. Moving inside to the 88 rated Thiago Silva. Now Thiago Silva has some of the best stats for a centre back in the game. He has 90 jumping, 91 interceptions, 91 marking and 91 stand tackling. That is quite simply exceptional, as I conceded an incredibly dodgy headed goal there. I still do not understand how Thuram managed to get that crossing and Dante just stood there and watched that, but never mind. You know, Thiago Silva, his defending technical stats are incredible. Now the problem with Thiago Silva is he isn't as beastly as his rating suggests. You know, he only has 80 strength, which is solid but not spectacular, and he's a relatively small centre-back. He's only 6 foot tall, so he may have very good jumping stats, but he can still lose quite a few headers. So that's one thing you do have to be a little bit aware of. He's very good on the floor, but if you get the ball in and a good cross, sometimes Thiago Silva can struggle. And especially when you have a fullback who goes AWOL a lot of the time, you will be having a lot of crosses come into the box, and that is Thiago Silva's weakness. So canny players will try and exploit that weakness, but his partner in crime, moving in field to Dante, 84 rated. 3-star skill moves as well, a very high amount of skill in this team. Very good, and you see I can see from across again. You're beginning to see a little bit of a theme here with Brazil, but 3-star skill moves like I mentioned, medium work rate. So again, he isn't going to be running around a lot for you, and when you bear in mind just how many attacking players you have in this back four, that's another little thing you need to be a little bit careful about. But he does have the power header trait, which is very useful, but again, only 66 jumping. I mean, both the Brazil centre backs are not dominant in the air by any stretch of the imagination, but again, very good technical stats with him. If you actually can get the ball on his head, he has 87 heading accuracy, Dante, so that sort of mitigates his poor jumping attributes somewhat. And on the ground, he's very solid, 86 slide tackling and 85 stand tackling. So he's a very solid centre-back. If these two guys were slightly better in the air, they would be terrifying. But even so, they're still a very effective central defensive partnership. So With them out the way, let's move again to another very attacking fullback in Marcelo. Now, Marcelo has high attacking work rate again and medium defensive work rate, so he won't go quite as gung-ho as Dani Alves, but he will still bomb forward very quickly and very often. 87 stamina, it's a great stat for a wing back because he will get up and down the field relentlessly. Good pace stats, 81 acceleration, 83 sprint speed, sorry, get my words out, very useful, but he has a bit more of an end product than Dani Alves. He has an 87 rated crossing stat, which is very good, and we'll come on to why that's so useful later on in the game, but that is a very good stat, and again, nice and solid on the floor. 85 stand tackling, no, 85 slide tackling, sorry, 83 stand tackling. Very useful stats for a defender. So two fullbacks who, whilst they are incredibly aggressive, have the technical stats to be good defenders as well. But looking at this team already, you can just see how attacking they are. So we'll move into midfield now, and this guy is a definite pick for me. The 83 rated Hernandez. He has high attacking work rate, yet another player with high attacking work rate. 5-star weak foot, which is an outstanding attribute for any player, and 4-star skill moves. Very good on the ball. He's not the most mobile, he only has 71 sprint speed and relatively low stamina, but he has some of the best technical stats for a defensive midfielder or a central midfielder in the game. Outstanding. 88 ball control, 86 free kick accuracy, 86 dribbling, 88 long shots, 86 short pass, 88 shot power. These are outstanding stats, and when you bear in mind he has 5-star weak foot as well, you can control the play, pass, shoot, move, dribble with both feet from all over the field. He is a devastatingly effective player, and he really does run the show in midfield. If you get the ball to his feet, he can dominate opposing teams with his great passing, and he's always a threat from distance, whether it's a set piece or whether it's a open play. He cuts inside onto his, well, he doesn't have a weaker foot, but cuts inside onto his right, onto his left, and unleashes bombs towards the target. So he is a very talented player. The first really defensive-minded player in the team is setting up alongside him. Luis Gustavo, 81 rated. He has high defensive work rate. Very few players in this team have that, so that is a great thing to have. And the reason why I didn't go for Ramirez in this position, because I absolutely love Ramirez in this game. When I talked about him in my Chelsea team tutorial, I really did eulogize about his effect on the team, but you really do need someone just to hold in this Brazil team, and Ramirez doesn't do that. He has high attacking work rate as well as high defensive work rate, but that means you are so vulnerable to the counter-attack. Because if you think about it, you've got Dani Alves bombing up one wing, you've got Marcelo bombing up the other wing, and then if you had Ramirez and Hernandez in midfield, two central midfielders with high attacking work rate, you basically have no one left to defend. It really is that simple. So going for Gustavo, but once again, like I mentioned, very solid player. He has 88 aggression and 85 interceptions, so he does win a lot of balls for you. 88 slide tackling and 87 stand tackling. Very useful stats for a defensive-minded midfielder, and he is just so key to this side. He really is important. You have to have a player like this in this team, otherwise you are just so prone to counter-attacks. But let's move slightly further up the field now to Oscar. Oscar is a great player. I really do like Oscar. He's 84 rated in this version of the squad. He has 3-star weak foot, which isn't spectacular, but pretty solid. You get a lot done with 3-star weak foot. 4-star skill moves, and he has high work rates both in attack and defense. So he really does bustle around the park for you. And that was a slight mistake from Jefferson there. You'd think with 87 reflexes he'd be able to keep that one out. Wasn't too far away from him, but never mind, it was a well-worked goal from my opponent. But back to Oscar. He has the long shot trait, so he does have a decent ping on him. Not spectacular. Good agility though, 86 agility, 84 acceleration. He's always very good at bustling around. 85 vision as well, so you do see him pick out a few passes that perhaps other players won't do. And if you go to his technical stats again, 86 ball control, 85 dribbling and 85 short passing. He's an ideal central attacking midfielder because he moves around the park very well. He always hustles and bustles. He's relatively mobile, not particularly blisteringly quick, but quick enough to get him into the right position. And then when he gets on the ball, he can have a decent shot on target, he can put a decent pass in. He's just a very solid central attacking midfielder and someone I like to play with a lot, both for Chelsea both an ultimate team. I have him on my ultimate team squad as well, and I have him in this Brazil team. He fits very, very well into a host of situations and does a very reliable job. So that's Oscar. Moving up the field once again to Lucas. Lucas, I play him on the right wing, and this is another area where Brazil have a lot of competition, because you could play Hulk wide right, you could play Lucas like I'm playing, or you could play Willian. You know, they really do have a huge amount of choice in that right wing. But the reason why I've gone for Lucas is he really does suit the style that I want to play with Brazil, and I'm going to go on to the style I enjoy playing with him a little bit once I've gone through the players fully. But Lucas is just absolutely blisteringly fast. He is so quick. 94 acceleration and 91 sprint speed is out of this world fast. But also he has 94 agility as well. So he's so fast on the ball, he will just jink past plays. He has atrocious strength at 45. That's simply abysmal levels of strength. But when you have a look at the rest of his physical stats, they really do, pull him out of the hole that his poor strength leaves him in. So that's all of that. But if you have a look at his technical stats as well, very impressive. 89 dribbling, 84 ball control, 81 long shots as well, so we can test the keeper from distance, 81 short passing, not too bad whatsoever, and 76 crossing, so it's very, very well balanced. But he is a great guy to fit into the counter-attack, and he really can stretch teams and give you more space for the rest of your team. Very, very direct player, and he suits this side well, because this side have a lot of creative passing players. It's nice to have just one bullet who can pull your opponent apart a little bit and give you a little bit more space. So that's why I like to have Lucas ahead of Willian or Hulk. Switching over to the left-hand side of the field, this is where you find Neymar. Neymar is a skiller's paradise. He has 5-star weak foot. He has 5-star skill moves. Incredible. You do not see many players with that combination at all in FIFA. That is a magical combination. He has the flair trait as well. He has acrobat. He's a fantastic dribbler. 91 acceleration and 93 agility. Outstanding for a skiller, because you can do a little trick, you'll glide around a guy and then you'll quickly burst away from him to finish him off. And then because he's got such good dribbling stats, he has 92 dribbling and 91 ball control, the ball sticks to his foot like he's got Velcro on his shoes. It is incredible. He is a little bit of a lightweight. Again, you get a lot of players in this Brazil team who are a little bit weak. 45 strength is nothing to write home about, but his technical stats are incredible. And if you like to be direct, if you like to run at players, he's very, very good. His crossing, pretty mediocre to be honest, at 70, but bear in mind he does have that 5-star weak foot, so he can put in a decent cross with both feet from pretty much any situation, so that does mitigate it to some extent. But you've got to use Neymar as a direct threat. Run at players, try and pull people out of position, do a nice little skill move, little 1-2, etc, etc, and you'll go quite far with him. He's definitely a player you have to take chances with, just like he is in real life. He's not going to be someone who sits there and just repeatedly puts great balls into the box or pinpoint passes, but he is someone, when used correctly, can just tear a team apart. So, little bit of an X-Factor player, very, very useful to have in that team. And now moving in field to the striker, I've gone for Hulk. Now, Hulk by default plays on the right wing for Brazil, but I've moved him in field because the other option in this squad is Joe. He's only 78 rated. I'd much rather move Hulk in field so I can get Lucas and Neymar into the team. And Hulk is a very, very good striker in his own right. He has 90 strength, which is always nice to see in a striker, because you see so many powerful centre-backs in this game. If you can have a striker who can compete with them, especially in this sort of team, you've got a lot of weak technical players around him, so being able to have a player of that stature and power, I mean, he's called Hulk. You don't call a 3-foot guy Hulk. He's a monster, but he's also quick. 88 acceleration, 85 sprint speed on a guy with 90 strength is absolutely ferociously good. Ferociously good. 85 attack position. He's always in the right place when you need him, and his technical stats are outstanding again. 88 long shots, 86 finishing, 83 ball control, very, very useful, 84 dribbling, very, very good at free kicks as well, 84. But the key stat is his 92 shot power, 92. He has an absolute cannon of a boot. He really can just punt that ball forward and do a lot of damage with set pieces. He's a very, very good player at doing that. And like I mentioned earlier, he gives you a different option. He's someone a little bit different in this Brazil side, and he just improves the balance of the team hugely. But Now that I've gone through all of the players, let's talk a little bit about the style I like to play with Brazil, because like I mentioned at the start of the video, I like to keep these guys in their default 4-3-3 formation. That's with 2 central midfielders and 1 central attacking midfielder. And this, I think, is the formation that you can fit the best amount of quality players in, because you're always looking to get the formation to fit the team, not the other way around. You don't want to shoehorn a team into a formation that doesn't suit them. And that's why you see a lot of times recommend you play 4-2-3-1, because a lot of modern teams set up in that way. Central attacking midfielder, try and pack the midfield a little bit. They have wingers who come in a little, and they have 1 central striker. But for me, I think Brazil definitely play better in a more attacking formation, because they have so many attacking players. You might as well make use of them. If you're someone who likes to sit deep and soak up chances and just be a defensive-minded player, Brazil is certainly not the team for you. They are a team that you have to go out there with a mentality that I am going to score 1 more goal than the opposition. If you do that, you can have a surprising amount of success. And you often have games like this which go down to the 90th minute. There's like 7 goals scored already, more on the way. Cough, cough, spoiler alert. But games like this are very, very common with Brazil. Occasionally, you're going to come up against a very, very clinical opponent who will score goals against you, because, like I mentioned, you've got 2 fullbacks who are so attacking. You've got a midfield, lot of midfielders, basically, who are incredibly attacking. Your wingers are weak, and they are not going to track back for the life of them. There's no way Lucas and Neymar are going to work hard to get back at all. Not going to happen. You haven't got an outstanding goalkeeper, so you can't just rely on a Manuel Neuer, for example, keeping out every shot that comes his way. But Jefferson is solid. He's not going to throw too many in for you. So this is a team where you definitely have to go at them. And I think Brazil definitely suit a more direct style. You see some teams, for example, the Germans. I think with Germany, you have to have a good passing game. You have to move the ball around, and then you create chances due to the incredible technical ability of all of their players. With Brazil, you can afford to be direct, and you see a lot of balls like that when I play as Brazil. I dink it in, get the ball over the top to the fast wingers, then I get it to Oscar's feet quickly, or I play it to Hulk and try and get him to win a header. Definitely Brazil are a counter-attacking side with a lot of pace, a lot of trickery, great strength in Hulk upfield, and you just have to cross your fingers and go for it with Brazil. And it's a very, very enjoyable style to play, because so many times you see people who will just sit deep, they'll put 5 at the back, they'll have 1 very, very quick striker, and they will just launch it upfield. And I conceded a couple of goals like that today where I had a big hack upfield, I had a guy cross the ball in, and like I mentioned, the 2 centre-backs of Brazil aren't outstanding in the air, so I lost a couple of headers, and that was how I conceded the goals. But if you can just get the ball down, be very, very assertive with the possession, get the ball up the field and try and create as many chances as possible, you will have a huge blast with Brazil. And they're definitely a team not to be taken too seriously. If you're wanting to be very, very tight and grind out victories and guarantee wins, don't play as Brazil. But if you're looking to try a few skills, try a nice fast-paced end-to-end style of game and give it a good go, Brazil are definitely an enjoyable team to play with. So once again, guys, thank you so much for watching the video. I really hope you've enjoyed it, and I hope you've learned something, and as always, have a great day.